Hello, Cruiser. Today, Thursday, July 8th, coming to you from Porto, Portugal. Our second stop in Portugal. We were in Lisbon yesterday. Today, we're going to board these vintage old rail cars. Or they're trams, I guess you'd call them. Electric trams. And we're going to ride along the seafront in Porto, Portugal. Now, Porto is a much smaller city than Lisbon. I think she said only something like 250,000 residents, something like that. But as with every European city worth anything worth its salt, it is crossed by a river called the Douro River. Now, the first thing that I immediately noticed as I got on the tram was I got on the wrong side. And I was going to get any pictures of the seafront. I needed to be sitting on the other side, but it was too late. So here you see some pictures of the opposite side of the tram. Now, they used to be taxed here based on the width of their house. So that's why you notice there's a lot of skinny houses. In both, that's the way they did it in Lisbon and I think also here in Porto. So the wider houses were the richer people and the skinnier houses were ones who didn't want to pay as much tax. But don't worry, I have pictures coming the other way back on the bus of the seafront, which you'll want to see because it's beautiful. There, look at those skinny little places. So this used to be a fishing town known for its canned fish and export of port wine. No surprise that port wine comes from Porto Portugal. Big money for them. I think it still is. But they used to be big on canned fish. Now you hear those church bells and you're saying to yourself, oh my goodness, he's not going to take us into another church, is he? We've seen so many of them. And I was thinking the same thing. Oh my goodness, I hope the tour guide doesn't take us inside. But she did. And so the only reason I'm going to show you this very quick footage of the inside of the church and the front outside is that this is a Baroque style church. And I think Baroque is broke. It's way too complicated for me. It's almost like Rococo. I don't know. But I just can't get into Baroque style. It's like they have to cover every square inch with stuff. And it's very complex, gilded. She even explained to us there's a certain, even a Portugal Baroque, which is different than Baroque. But anyway, this is the courtyard. Just to see how it's very complicated. I think she said this was a 15th century church, although to be honest, I really don't remember. We've been in so many churches, they all run together. But I will show you in a minute. Just outside. See, look how complicated everything is. It's like, whoa, way too much. Now look at this tile. This angel even has rolled eyes, one up and one down, at the complexity of the Baroque design. This is inside the chapel. Real quick, looking towards the front and the back. Now our next stop was the train station because it is known for its 20,000 hand-painted tiles, which they decided needed to go in the train station because it was kind of the centerpiece of the town. So these blue tiles are kind of a trademark of the city. So we had a good look at the 20,000 tiles and we headed out to one of the bridges that crosses the Douro River. And it's beautiful. You're going to see looking both directions. This is looking upstream She said that it goes way up for miles, like 10 or 15 miles upstream. And that's where they catch the lamprey and the eels that they like to eat in the wintertime. If you've ever seen a lamprey, go look one up on Google. They're an ugly thing. I don't I don't know if I could ever eat a lamprey. But during the 3 months of the winter that they get them, they like to eat them here. So obviously I sped up the walking or it'd take forever to get across the bridge. This bridge serves the trolley cars, the light rail that goes back and forth. Now you're looking towards the city of Gaia, which is across the river from Porto. So all those warehouses and stuff over there is where they used to store the port wine for export. But a lot of people are actually moving to Gaia because it's less expensive to live over there and getting quite expensive in Porto because it's more of a kind of a resort place now. So that's looking towards the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and along the right bank of that river is where the trolley took us earlier in the day, and where the bus is going to take us as we go back. So you'll be able to see what that waterfront looks like. But it's beautiful. You can see we're here on a beautiful day. It was mid 70s, so absolutely perfect. Not a cloud in the sky. Probably the nicest day we've had for touring in a long, long time. So this cool hotel here with the pool right next to the bridge. I went inside their grounds over there just to get a look at the bridge from the side. This bridge was designed by one of Eiffel's disciples. That Eiffel, he got around. Uh, so it's a steel structure, much like all of Eiffel's work. So this is again looking towards the ocean. And it used to be that every city needed a waterway to get around. Okay, I took these pictures because those are sycamore trees that got some kind of a weird disease. It took them a long time to figure out. They call them elephant foot sycamores now. You see how the trunks of them are real fat. Uh, so it took them a while to figure out what the disease was, and I think they finally got it fixed. But the trees survived. They just look really weird. All right. Oh, so we had some lunch at the best bakery in Porto, and then that's the bookstore where they say J.K. Rowling got some of her inspiration. We didn't get to go inside of it; the line was too long. But hey, she lived in Porto for 2 years while she was married to some Portuguese guy, which she later divorced. They said it's 7 in 10 marriages in Porto end in divorce. Pretty sad statistic. Okay, so now we're in the bus going back along the seaway, and you get a chance to see what a beautiful city Porto is. Now, they do have some beautiful beaches, which you'll see in a minute, but the water is only 60 degrees, so way too cold to swim in without a wetsuit. And you'll see there's hardly anybody on the beaches here. So this bridge, you can actually climb it. There's a trail on this side of it as you look back at it with a railing. You can climb that arch if you want to. We didn't have time. And there's the office right there of the guy that built the bridge. And again, the other side used to be mainly the warehouses and storage places for all the imports and exports that came in. This is the second most important port in Portugal, Lisbon being the first and Porto being the second. Fishing was very important here. And a lot of those small houses that you saw on the other side when we were coming on that tram were fishermen houses. So beautiful. And there you can see the opening out into the Atlantic out there straight ahead. And then closer to the port, you can see in the background is we're headed back to the ship. Serenade of the Seas is docked out there, but look at these beautiful beaches. Hardly anybody on them because of the water temperature. But tomorrow, stay tuned for Vigo, Spain. We'll be coming to you from Vigo.